Hello there. In my last video, I said that the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone could potentially point to an inflection point in bilateral relations. Some would call it a game changer, but for that to happen, several innovative solutions are needed. But what are they? In case you have not watched my earlier video, I have put up the link somewhere up there. But first, what is a Special Economic Zone or SEZ? SEZs are not new. In fact, the first SEZ was set up at the Shannon International Airport in Ireland in 1959. Since then, many others have emerged around the world. Now here's a question for you. Do you know how many SEZs are there in the world today? A. More than 100. B. More than 1,000. C. More than 5,000. We shall find out a little bit later. To answer the question that I asked earlier, there are more than 5,400 SEZs around the world today. All have been set up for specific economic activities. SEZs often operate under different regulatory frameworks from the rest of the country. They offer things like tax breaks aimed at attracting investors. However, this model of SEZ can potentially be troublesome in the case of Malaysia-Singapore bilateral relations. Why do I say that? Because Singapore-Malaysia bilateral relations is essentially about managing trust. The problem here is that this is a relationship between two very different countries. There is huge asymmetry between them. One is tiny yet an economic powerhouse, the other one is bigger but still developing. For these reasons, complications do arise in this bilateral relationship. So, economic incentives like tax breaks or setting up of special funds can be exploited for political reasons. Malaysian taxpayers might feel that they are unfairly subsidizing a project that benefits only one side. Singaporeans on the other side may worry about policy flip-flops. Hence, it is crucial to design a special economic zone that not only attracts investors, but is also seen as fair by everyone. To my mind, the way to do it is to ensure that this SEZ redefines economic boundaries between the two countries. What does redefining economic borders mean? It involves how neighboring countries can transform the economic interaction by breaking down barriers, creating seamless economic integration so that both can benefit from this integration of economic activities. SEZ could be the catalyst that provides this transformation. I would say that three key ingredients are essential for this transformation. The first ingredient is what I call a right-sized binational governance. A binational governance is where both countries are involved in the decision making. At the same time, it is also important to acknowledge that the involvement of the decision making is not expected to be equal. After all, the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone will fully be located within the sovereign territory of Malaysia. This is where right-sizing the binational governance comes in. But what is the right size? I don't have the answers, but I'm sure there are people there who can provide these answers. But we can look at successful models of binational governance, such as the Øresund Bridge between Denmark and Sweden. Certain national policies, like the NEP, may need to be adjusted or perhaps even set aside to fit the unique needs of this special economic zone. The second is what I call balancing commuting and residency. We all know that the Singapore-Malaysia land border is one of the busiest in the world, and this heavy human traffic that crosses the borders of both countries is a problem. We know that both countries are pursuing the idea of a passport-free travel, which is good and welcome. But so long as the Johor-Singapore Economic Zone depends on commuter traffic, it is bound to put pressures on local infrastructure and cause problems eventually. Therefore, we should not only try to encourage Singapore businesses to set up base in the SEZ, but also should try to encourage Singaporeans and their families to settle down in the area as well. Now, one of the obstacles for Singaporeans to settle down in Johor I think, is a problem of schooling for the children. So perhaps we could investigate the idea of allowing schools to be established in the zone. So with Singapore schools operating in the zone, it could alleviate some of the problems of sending children to school. And secondly, since these schools would most likely operate like any other international schools, they could also admit Malaysian students. To my mind, this could partly alleviate the problem of this English language issue that we are talking about today. The third ingredient is attracting and retaining talent. For the Johor-Singapore SEZ to thrive, it must attract top-notch talent and retain them successfully. Establishing a fair, merit-based system to create an environment where individuals with talent from both countries can showcase their talents. So, the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone must offer competitive incentives to attract the best talent. For Malaysia, attracting talent and retaining talent here could partially alleviate its brain drain problem too. In concluding, I would say that the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone is indeed a bold step. However, because of the special needs of this zone, this special economic zone needs careful hand-holding by none other than the leaders themselves. If managed well, the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone can be a model for regional integration. It's a model for ASEAN and beyond as well.